Chapter 30. You guys went through a lot. I can't tell which is worse. Isamu mulled over with his thumb resting under his fuzzy chin. Both are not ideal, but I don't think I would last a second if Aziza and I switched. If it weren't for Simon, I don't think I could have lasted either. However, you had to blindly trek through a blizzard. Alright, enough of this pity party for you two. I was just thinking aloud, Isamu said. Isamu got the full story several hours ago, and yet it was all that could be said during the trip back to Romaria. He enjoys the company again, but the constant trouble they speak has him on edge. Compared to them, he was in a dream. But what of Hotaru? Could she handle being in a prison, or trudge through a barren tundra? Whatever it may be, she could be suffering the worst of all. Isamu couldn't dawdle any longer. He had to hurry. It's what was expected of him from his peers. With the night at its peak, and the moon directly above them like a spotlight, they continue heading west, as the old man suggested. Though the journey so far has no road or landmarks, the path forward is familiar. Simon leads the pack, lost in his own thoughts, with the others slightly behind him, chattering amongst each other. Thankfully, no monsters are near during the chilly night, allowing them to breathe in the peaceful air they have longed for since they set sail. Several minutes pass with Isamu breaking the silence, no longer able to endure the anxiety. He groans. I have to say, even though she was pretty bad at controlling it, I miss being able to fly around. I second that, Fedir added. I don't enjoy the sickness I feel afterwards, but it was so convenient. Never thought I would hear you of all people say that. Do you think Hotaru is okay? Aziza quietly chimes in, looking up at the beautiful stars. The dreaded question of the day, Isamu thought. Of course she's okay, he answered with a confident smile on his face. Any monster she runs into is probably more scared of her. Do you really believe that? She asked with her eyes sinking into him like daggers. He chuckles, his facade fading. I try to, though I do worry sometimes. You are her older brother. It only makes sense to worry. Maybe it's a bit selfish to say, but I miss when we used to all talk together. It was a good way to forget what we went through, if only briefly. Now it just isn't the same without her. Fedir jumps in. We will find her. If the goddess has aided me to Aziza, then she will take us to Hotaru. He shakes his head. How many times do I have to tell you? You found Aziza through your own merits, and we will do the same. As their eyes meet, Fedir has a spark with a violent fire. Isamu tries to match his energy, but can't find it in him. Part of him wants to believe Fedir is right. So far, what he says holds some truth, and while he doesn't believe such drivel, he might be willing to put aside his belief, swallow his pride, for whatever means to keep Hotaru safe. Then, a glimmer of lights shine in the distance. That must be Romaria, Simon announced. To think we would be back here, Aziza said, back when our biggest threat were those Bunnicorn. I miss those days, Fedir sighed, taking his eyes away from Isamu. The castle grows closer with each step, and soon the lake is in sight. To the west of the castle it sits, spanning out beyond the horizon. Its tranquil dark blue color has small spread out sparkles, like sprinkles on a cake. The lake's water is within reach if they crouch to the ground, but there are no ports for ships. Isamu takes a moment to soak in the sight. I didn't even realize this lake was here. Probably because the moment you saw the castle you took off without a hitch, Fedir answered, while glaring at Isamu. Well, none of that matters now. So what do we do? Hope this thing just shows up? I guess we'll wait, Simon suggested. Midnight should be closing in soon. Sounds like a plan. With some time to kill, why not go to the monster arena and bet a few coins? Are you feeling up to it, Fedir? Hardly. If it's anything like last time, we will get in trouble again. Times have changed. We have grown up. It's only been 3 months. Simon sneaks up to Aziza as she watches them banter with a smile on her face. Simon is fairly loud in his conversation, and with both men curious, they continue their argument. Do these guys always do this? They have since I knew them, and I wouldn't have it any other way. You like when your friends fight? When they're fighting or teasing, I know everything is okay. I would be more worried if they were silent. And who is Hotaru? She is the last of our friends. From what Pimiko says, she's the hero of the group, but she is so much more. I like to think of her as a mediator, and we usually await for her final say when coming to a decision. Aziza's words are soothing to Isamu. He is proud his character keeps her sane. It reminds him of the old martial artist's words at Corv. He also agrees with her description of Hotaru. Within the last few months, she has not only grown as a hero, but as well as a leader. I wonder if my father felt the same way about Ortega. It's possible, though from what I know, they were much older than us. Probably much stronger too. He keeps silent as he watches Isamu and Fedir argue. As his mind wanders, they see his eyes shift to Aziza's smile. It's pleasant and sweet like honey. In the short time Isamu has known him, he has described Aziza as soft-spoken, but also quite terrifying. From his statements, Aziza was like a cutthroat assassin with speed and ferocity, something Isamu has a hard time believing. So far, he hasn't seen the capabilities of Isamu or Fedir, but it's easy to guess what he could be pondering about. What kind of beast can Isamu topple with his massive arms? And Fedir, while far smaller than everyone else, seems to be highly proficient with magic from what the others say, Isamu imagines in his mind. However, he stops when Simon looks at his sword. Aziza? Yes, she answered, continuing to stare at the argument in sight. His mouth opens, yet no words leave his lips as the cold breeze sweeps across. I never would have thought Aziza could infatuate someone, but it seems like our new friend here has a type. Glancing back at Fedir, it seems he has reached the same conclusion. A faint, bone-chilling bell chimes in the distance. Everyone turns to pinpoint the sound to find a deep fog towards the lake. Something massive pushes through, with the bell's chimes getting louder. I think we found our ship, Isamu commented, stepping up to the two of them. Through the fog, an old pirate ship sails to the shore. Its dirty white flags are torn, and its hull is covered in holes. Surrounding it is a ghostly aura, making the ship partially transparent. They look up at the lakeside to see people that weren't there before awaiting the ship's arrival. Simon freezes, yet he takes the lead. Eyes sharp, everyone. We don't know what we are dealing with. He steps forward along the edge to reach them. Once in close proximity, the people are floating above the ground, covered in a similar fog. Their eyes are hollowed out, and mouths are wide open. Even closing the gap, they don't react, eerily waiting. The ship reaches them and turns to its side. The bell's haunting chimes echo loudly in the air as if preparing for an announcement. Heavy chains soon follow, and the ghastly gangway drops onto land. The group holds still, hands on their weapons, ready for whatever may come. Good evening, everyone, an ebullient voice shouted from atop the ship. From the deck, a human skeleton in ripped pirate's garb carrying a comically large list walks down the gangway. We are having some difficulties with the routing, but everything should be in order. Now form a single file line and let's get this ship sailing. The ghost floated and lined up as he said, while leaving the four of them confused by the pleasant greeting he gave to each person. One by one, they board the ship with him flipping through his list, allowing each ghost in, like a guard to the castle, soon leaving only them. Please enjoy your stay, he said with glee to the last guest. I'm gonna need you four to step up in line, please, he asked, waving his hand over. His joyous demeanor disappears as if removing a mask. His annoyed sigh is heavy. Goddess, I hate this job. They approach. He leaned his head in with a creepy smile. You all look a little young to be on this ship. But I guess when you gotta go, you gotta go. Now can I please have your name, age, and occupation? We're actually not here to board, Simon answered. He flings his arm in the air. Then why are you here? You kids trying to pull some sort of prank? No, of course not. We were hoping to see if a man named Simon was on board. He sighs, rolling his head along his shoulders. I'm gonna need more than that. What about an occupation? He was a hero who fought monsters, he answered to the best of his ability, not confident in the slightest. He takes his thumb and middle finger and slides them across his fractured skull. Wow, is that a name he gave himself? Simon the hero? Listen well, kid. If you don't know, an occupation is a job. Something I'm sure none of you have. What did he do to earn a living? Was he a blacksmith? Or an innkeeper? I will even accept pooper scooper. You just gotta give me something. Isamu jumps in. Can you just see if there is anyone named Simon? With a dramatic flip of his list, he starts at the bottom. Oh sure, no problem. Let's see, we have Simon. Oh, another Simon. We have a Simone. Maybe that's it. Well, would you look at that? We hit the end of the list. Hold a moment. He brings 2 fingers to the side of his skull, nodding while putting a finger up for silence. Seems like all our cabins are full. Looks like we will have to see you at the next stop. Wait, Simon shouted. The old man back at Myrrh said you might know something. He even gave us this bone. He pulls out the large, clean bone, and the skeleton flinches back. Well, goddess bee, I never thought I would see that thing again. The captain is gonna be very happy. He turns around, throwing the list onto the deck. Why didn't you start with that? The captain will want to see you right away. He springs forward up the gangway, clicking the heels of his feet. They are hesitant at first, but finally make their way to the deck. The gangway is pulled back in by an invisible force, and the ship sets sail for the center of the lake. The ship rocks back and forth as it moves forward. Out in the distance, nothing is in sight as the fog grows thicker the farther out they go. On the deck, more moving skeletons dart frantically around the ship, attending to its needs. The added ghosts either remain still or float down the stairs into the cabins. The greeter steps over to a small set of stairs that lead up to the steering wheel, which moves on its own. At this point, nothing can surprise them, but Simon looks to have seen better days. His face lacks color and his limbs shake. Come on, people, I haven't got all day, he ordered. The quicker we reach the captain's quarters, the quicker I can get back to my job. They follow his order, stepping up the stairs and passing by the unoccupied wheel. At the back of the ship, behind the broken wheel is a small structure like a shed. At its front is an ominous wooden door with a circular window covered in ancient dirt. Even though they can't see inside, a scent of death looms from it. The skeleton bangs on the door. Captain, I got some visitors for you. You're gonna want to hear this. There's no reply, and he turns to them. Make sure to dust off your boots before heading inside. Good luck, you bunch. With a salute, he takes off, joining the others as they scatter about. Everyone blankly stares at the door, afraid of what they will find, leaving Isamu to take the lead. He does as the skeleton says, scraping his flat shoes on the worn mat before pushing it open. It creaks with age and the smell from before increases. Hello? He called out, but there was no response. He looks back to the others who still wait for him to advance. Aziza steps next to his side to enter, with Fedir hanging in the back, hands pressed together. The 2 of them step in and glance around the small room. At its center is a desk covered with old papers and unique dusty trinkets, with a surrounding wall bearing dozens of decorations and paintings that have faded with time. With how everything is randomly scattered, it only seems right someone would be here. Hello? Isamu called again. His voice echoes in the small room, and a creak replies. The door behind them slams shut, leaving them in the dark. They are too nervous to scream, with the only sound being Fedir and Simon whispering a prayer. They huddle together, and slow footsteps make their way to the desk. Then, a dim light erupts. Near the weak light, a decayed human face lies, and a tiny flame connects to the wick of an old candle on the table. A rugged voice escapes the thin lips of the ghostly man as he sits. "State your business." A fog as if it was freezing leaves his bushy mouth. He wears a torn pirate's garb like his undead crew, but he isn't as jolly or expressive. From his cloudy eyes and rotted teeth, there is no malice, yet no joy or sorrow. The young swordsman manages to step forward. "I was hoping to find my father, Simon." He sticks out his bony hand with a shining pearl ring around his finger. "Hand over the bone first." Simon agrees to his words with haste, taking out the bone and gently placing it into his hand. The captain examines it, bringing a small monocle glass to his sunken face. "This is indeed the real thing. How I have waited for ages to get my hands on this. I cannot thank you enough. So you're looking for a man named Simon?" "Yes, sir. He is my father." "There are many men named Simon in the world, but I have a sense of the one you seek." "Please, can you take us to him?" "Hold a moment, kid," he spoke, setting the bone softly on his table. "This Simon wasn't any ordinary man. He was to be a hero to people, and he was a close friend. Yet all of that changed once that dreadful day came to an end." "It's just as the dwarf said. He must be one of them who fought alongside Dad when they fought Baramos," Simon answered. "So you are the son he spoke highly of. That's less explaining on my part. Your father lost a lot that day, and was driven to madness, swearing to kill all demons that stood in his path. It all seemed like a simple case of revenge. However, his lust for vengeance was taken out on vigilantes and petty thievery, thinking himself a judge of justice. Instead, he became the monster he so despises, landing himself a life sentence in the Shrine of Shackles." Simon is lost for words, failing to continue the conversation with Isamu taking his place. "Is there any way you can bring us there?" "Not until I get what I want." He lifts from the chair, clasping his hands behind his back, pacing back and forth. "I appreciate you for what you have brought me, but now I ask a selfish request. Do this for me, and I will grant you a voyage. No questions asked." "And that is?" "Simon wasn't the only one who lost a lot. I lost my life on that battlefield along with my men. I don't regret dying for the cause, only leaving my dear Olivia alone." He looks down at his ring, his face finally granting him emotion. "We were to be wed after my return, seeing the man I became due to his curse. I could never see my love again, doomed to sail for an eternity, invisible to the naked eye. The bone you brought me is special, an exception to the curse. It allows its holder to witness what remains of that war and be able to speak with me. My only request is to seek my love and tell her I'm sorry, and I love her still." "We will do it," Fedir answered, no longer fearful of the ghost. "It's only fair for those who have fallen. It's what the people of the church and goddess would want." "I'm with Fedir," Aziza said. "She deserves answers." "You're an alright group of kids. We will set sail for her village. It sits near a promontory. I also wish for you to hand her this." From his garb he sets atop the table a bright pink locket in pristine condition.